Welcome. You're listening to the I'm Wired to Inspire podcast, creatively engineered by Nicole, the inspiration specialist. I'm Wired to Inspire is a powerfully packed podcast filled with inspiration and encouragement to get you through your day. It's designed to inspire you to live your authentic purpose. Now, stay tuned for your host, Nicole, the inspiration specialist, on today's episode of I'm Wired to Inspire.
Hey everyone, and thank you so much for joining me today on my podcast. I am Nicole, the inspiration specialist, and I am wired to inspire you to live your authentic purpose. Today's topic is called warming the bench. Now, I'm quite sure that, most of you are familiar with that, but if you're not, warming the bench basically talks about when, let's say you're on a team of some sort, and you have to sit on the bench and you can't play in the game. And usually you are not in the game because of injury, ineligibility, or for some reason they don't have you in the game. Okay? Many times, I know for sure in football, you can be on the injured reserve list. You could have some type of suspension, or you could have all types of different things that happen and you can't play. So I was thinking today about warming the bench from a different perspective. And I thought it was really, really dope because I said, man, God can use anything to get his point across. Okay. And I said, you know what? It's a blessing in warming the bench if you look at it that way. Y'all, you could either look at it like this. You could either say, well, warming the bench is like a warm towel when you get out of a cold shower and a warm towel is waiting for you. Or you could look at it like, it's summertime and you have on a turtleneck. So now you're hot and uncomfortable. It's all about your perspective, right? But I took warming the bench as something positive. And I came up with 8 keys to warming the bench successfully. Because let me tell you something. Everything that you go through, and especially if you are a person right now who's quote unquote warming the bench, because many of you listening, you are warming the bench right now in this season of your life. The team that God has you working with, the situations that he has going on, some of you are extremely frustrated because you know you're warming the bench and you don't believe you deserve it. You say, you know what? I have more experience than them. Or I know more than them. Or blah, 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 blah. Whatever. You're going back and forth with these things, right? And you're just like, God, they should be the ones sitting on the bench, not me. And that bench, we already know the bench is relative. It's based on whatever your situation is. But everybody has that bench. And at some point in life, we have to come to terms with the fact that if God has us there in that season, it's for a reason. Okay? So let me give you 8 keys to successfully warming a bench. Number 1, sit tight. Don't get antsy. Chill out. Pump your brakes. Because here is the thing. God knows what he is doing. Sit tight. When people tell you to sit tight, they tell you to just hold your hope. Hold on a second. Okay? It's not going to last forever. Here's the thing you got to remember, sweetie. You're already on the team. The question is not being on the team, but you know what happens? The reason why you don't want to sit tight sometimes, because we know when we warm the bench, it could mean that we have the potential to not be on the team any longer because we're not showing our skill set. We're not doing what we feel like we need to do. So just sit tight. Number 2, I said it a second ago, you got to chill and relax. You have to get out of your own head. And I'm going to give you another word for that for somebody listening. Your chill and relax might be God may have put you on the bench in this season because he needs you to rest. He needs you to pump your brakes. That's why things are not going the way you were planning. Number 3, the third key, don't get too comfortable. I know you don't want to sit tight. I know you don't want to rest. Well, how about this? Don't get too comfortable anyway, because even if you have to rest, even if you have to take a moment, even if you have to take a beat and chill and say, okay, God, I'm going to take a breath. Let me see what you say. Don't get too comfortable because you're only passing through. You still going to win the big game, but right now, this is the spot God has you in. The 4th key, understand why. Maybe you need to just go and ask God, Lord, could you just reveal to me why I'm here? He may or may not do it. He's not obligated to give us anything. But he does say when we do certain things, he'll give us a desire of our heart. So if the desire of your heart is to ask him why and to understand why, well, if you're seeking your happiness in him, he will gladly answer that for you if that's a desire of your heart. So see how everything is kind of connected? He may or may not do that for you, but I know if you do what he tells you to do in terms of getting what you desire, he will answer that for you. Now, if you're not, it's a shot in the dark. He's God. He can do whatever he wants. But all I know is I can stand on those promises and he comes through. Fifth key, it's only temporary. Okay? It's just a season and a time that you are in. And with that in mind, think about things being temporary. They're temporary, but they're needed at the time that they're going on, y'all. People don't think about that with temporary things. Oh, it's a temp job. I know one thing, it might be a temp job, but you need them temp checks. You might not like that temporary job, but you're going to like them temp checks and that money that comes along with it. So you got to look at it like that too. It's temporary, but sometimes temporary things can be the biggest blessing that you need to get you over into the permanent things that you desire. All right? The sixth key, okay? Are you injured? Are you ineligible? Are you in a space where maybe God knows if you get put in a game, you may fail? He may know that you're not ready. You might be asking God to do something for you. I don't know who needs to hear this, but you might be asking God for you to get in a room with certain people, but he knows that you might not be equipped. He might know that you will appear ineligible to them. So let God work that thing out with you while you warming the bench, sitting tight, chilling. Let God work that out. You might be trying to go before your time. All right. And the seventh key is you have to prepare to play while you're sitting on the bench. While you're sitting on the bench, pay attention to what's going on. Look at your teammates. You might be sitting on the bench in your own story by yourself and you might not have teammates. But then that might be the time for God to do self-reflection in you. So if you're on the team on the bench by yourself, it's because God wants you to look at you. He wants you to look at what's going on with you. If you are in a situation where you are on the bench with coworkers or business partners or situations that involve other people, maybe God is saying, pay attention. You might not like her, but she on top of it. Maybe you need to take some of that hustle she got. You might not like him, but he handles his business. You come in late and he comes in on time. He might say, okay, listen, everybody's on the same playing field, but pay attention to that footwork. Pay attention to how they type this. Pay attention to how they do that. No, not to steal it, not to reenact it, not to make it your own, but I'm trying to show you they're using the power that working within them concerning me. So they're excelling. You may not have to do anything that they're doing, but what is it that you could be doing better for you? And here is the last and final key to warming the bench. When it's time for you to get off the bench, make sure you're ready. You already know the saying. If you ready, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. So keep those 8 keys in mind. Sit tight, rest, don't get too comfortable. Ask God to help you understand why. Remember, it's temporary. Figure out what your reason is. Are you ineligible? Is there some inadequacies? Is there something that you need to focus on at that time? Do you need to pay attention more to what's going on with you? Next, you prepare to play. And remember, if you already stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. I'm wired to inspire. I hope you are too.
Thanks for listening to I'm Wired to Inspire podcast at I'mWiredToInspire.com. If you enjoyed the show, spread the word and be sure to hit the 5-star rating on iTunes. For more information on this podcast and inspirational products and services, log on to I'mWiredToInspire.com. And remember to live your authentic purpose. Thanks again and see you next time.